I have been together with my boyfriend, me, 39 years old, him, 41 years old, for a little over 3 years now. We finally decided to move in together and blend our families since July this year. I finally feel as though we are in a better place in our relationship, and I am starting to let go of some of the past things that happened early on in our relationship and let myself and my feelings show for him. I can be rather reserved with my feelings in general and am currently working on it. However, what contributed to that was something that I felt was always off. We both have children from past relationships. However, his relationship with his ex seems to be very toxic, and unfortunately, his relationship with his daughter has suffered because of it. According to him, their relationship was toxic from the beginning, very off and on, but she still had a hard time moving on and finding a new relationship. I had a feeling that it was true, which it turned out it was. However, I found out some things that changed my impression about him, and I wish that I didn't hear or see those things. I always had a feeling that something wasn't really right, the lack of boundaries, etc., and that perhaps she, he, or even both weren't exactly over when my boyfriend started dating me. Without going into too much detail, he left one of his phones here at home while away on a business trip for the week, and I snooped. While things aren't really explicit in a sense, there is no dirty talk, no talks about getting back together, etc. I found it rather weird how they addressed each other and talked about their relationship via text. Some of the things, calling each other honey, cutie, etc., right before he started talking to me on a dating app. 6 months into our relationship, still the pet names above. She calls him the pet names more than he does. She mentions wishing that they could spend time together with their daughter and that they could watch a film together. He answers, it was unfortunate that they could have made good food together, spent time together with their daughter, and that they could watch a film together, but that there would be more opportunities. She mentions something about it would have been nice to travel together to Amsterdam for a couple of days. He answers that it will come. A year into our relationship, 2022, I notice in some of her texts she's calling him pet names, saying that she misses him and wants to spend time together. She says, "Missed you a little today, Papa." He answers with, "We have it nice together. It's balanced, and I thank you for that. It's magical to see you as a mother and how you take care of our daughter. Together we can get through everything." She says, "We could have been a great family, but we are doing the best of the situation for the little one. And I understand how you feel, because we both feel a little bit of the same thing." Then she talks about some details about their relationship out of the blue, and how some of the things she wore when they were together reminded her of it. How he didn't want to be with her and just be friends, but seeing how she interacted with his friends, she was sure that he fell in love with her. She apologizes after a playdate for touching his face, saying that she couldn't help but find him so sweet then. Like I said, our relationship has gotten better, and I trust him for the most part now, and I have developed a relationship with his daughter. However, I went through emotional turmoil the first 2 years of our relationship as I felt something was off but couldn't figure it out. Now the mother of his daughter wants us all to hang out sometimes with the kids. In any other situation, I would be more than happy to do that. But after reading what I did, I want nothing to do with her. I don't even know how to feel about my boyfriend at this moment. I invaded his privacy and feel guilty about that. At the same time, it confirmed some of my earlier feelings about him and his ex. I need advice on how to move past this, even though this brought up so many past feelings I thought I let go, or if it's a lost cause. I wanted to settle down completely with him. Now for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. There's clearly a lot going on here, and so I'm hesitant to make judgments on something I'm not close to. But even if he believes he is not leading her on or being inappropriate, it's all too familiar and crossing some lines into your relationship. And it is understandable why you're here asking about this. Therapy might be a good forum to communicate with him productively and safely about the issue. But since you're clearly not comfortable with what's happening, and reasonably so, it seems like communicating your feelings, thoughts, needs, and wants is important here. If you can see a path forward, think about what those boundaries look like and let him know what you want and why you want it. If he can't give you the peace of mind you need about his relationship with his ex, then some tough decisions about your future together are probably necessary. Comment 2. Honest question. You have been dating for less than 4 years, and according to you, the first 2.5 years were emotional hell. Why did you stay with him if it was so detrimental to your mental health? This doesn't sound like a healthy relationship because it's not normal to stay in a relationship that long if you were miserable from almost the very beginning. The toxicity from your boyfriend's previous relationship is obviously bleeding over into your relationship, and because of their daughter, I don't see any way that will change. Now, for the update. I'm still figuring things out, but I wanted to update you guys on what's been happening. A few weeks after my last post, we decided to have a family dinner at our place to celebrate my boyfriend's daughter's birthday. This was supposed to be a happy occasion, and I really wanted to make it special, so I went all out. I cooked her favorite dish and even baked a cake. I actually made the cake from scratch because she likes this particular one from some fancy bakery. Anyway, my boyfriend invited his ex to join, saying it would be good for the kids to celebrate together. I was a little uncomfortable with this, but kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to ruin the birthday vibe. The ex showed up with a big gift bag that had a new tablet for his daughter. My boyfriend's daughter was super excited about it, and honestly, I was kind of jealous. I mean, I spent all this time making a cake, and here comes the ex with a freaking tablet. I noticed my boyfriend seemed extra friendly with her, laughing at her jokes and sharing inside stories. Okay, I get it, you have a history, but do you need to be all chummy with her in front of me? During dinner, the ex brought up a funny story about their past that made my boyfriend laugh harder than he had in a while. I was sitting there with a forced smile, trying to be happy for the kids, but inside, I was fuming. After dinner, I offered to clean up, hoping to give them some space. I just wanted to be alone and not hear them reminiscing about their good old days. While I was in the kitchen, I overheard them discussing plans for a family day at an amusement park the following month. Okay, now I'm just getting pissed. I walked back in and asked about the plans, trying to sound casual. My boyfriend looked surprised and said he thought it would be a fun outing for the kids. I suggested that I'd love to join, but he hesitated, looking at his ex before nodding. That right there was a red flag. The ex chimed in, saying it would be great if it was just the two of them taking the kids. I can't even express how annoyed I was at that moment. A few days later, I found out my boyfriend was texting the ex again after the birthday dinner. I checked his phone while he was in the shower, seeing messages about how the kids had fun together. This was the part that really got me. He mentioned something about keeping their plans a secret from me. What the actual hell? I confronted him when he got out, showing him the messages. He claimed it was just for the kids' sake and that he wanted to keep me out of it to avoid any drama. So basically, he wanted to keep me out of the loop because he knew I would flip out. I went to my sister's house for the night because I just couldn't be around him anymore. While there, I received a call from my boyfriend asking if we could talk. I agreed to meet him the next day at the local diner. It felt like a scene from one of those cheesy rom-coms where the couple has a serious talk over coffee. He revealed that his ex had asked him for another chance, claiming she had changed. I wanted to throw my coffee mug at him. The next day, I went to pick up my boyfriend's daughter from school. I overheard her talking to a friend about how excited she was to go to the amusement park with her mom and dad. Excuse me? Mom and dad? I felt like I was going to lose it. My boyfriend suggested we go to a family therapy session to sort things out. I reluctantly agreed, thinking maybe a professional could help us. During the session, his ex showed up unexpectedly, claiming she wanted to be part of the conversation. I was like, are you kidding me? The therapist allowed her to stay. As we talked, my boyfriend suddenly revealed that he had been considering moving back in with his ex. I was just sitting there, completely speechless. The session ended, and I felt like I was in a daze. A week later, I got a text from my boyfriend saying he needed time to think about everything. I don't know what to do, guys. I feel like I'm stuck in this never-ending drama. Edit. It's been a few months since my last update. I took a break from everything to focus on myself and figure out what I really wanted. After my boyfriend's text about needing time to think, I decided to end things. I just couldn't deal with the stress and the uncertainty any longer. It wasn't easy, especially since I had grown attached to his daughter. We still see each other occasionally, but not as much. I also started therapy, which has been helping me a lot. My relationship with my own daughter has improved too. We're still a work in progress, but we're getting there. Am I the idiot for changing the locks on my cheating boyfriend after he humiliated me in front of my family? My boyfriend and I moved in together recently after a year and a few months of long distance. Everything was going great, although I started to notice him putting in less of an effort to make me feel special, which I didn't mind because the move was a big adjustment for both of us. After a couple of months, our intimacy lives changed a bit. He was no longer attempting to seduce me, but simply began asking to be intimate. One day, I was using his phone to look something up and found a camgirl site pulled up. He had spent almost $100 on the site in just the last couple of weeks and was a silver member. I had just gotten a second job because he wasn't working enough to support us in the way we discussed and was, of course, sending him money. I told him about it, and his response was that he was embarrassed and didn't know why he did it. He explained he used to watch cam girls very regularly before we got together, but had stopped during the time we had been seeing each other. I asked what changed recently, and he said I had been working more and we weren't seeing each other often enough. I reminded him this was the most intimate relationship he has ever had in his life. I was his first long-term partner, and we had just ended long distance. I told him this was different than corn to me because he was paying a woman to do things for him sexually. He said he couldn't explain and wanted to start therapy. I even said I would be willing to explore those sites with him in the future if the urge arises. I moved on, hoping it was a one-time occurrence, and a few weeks later, I opened his phone to find a camgirl site search was pulled up. He said he didn't spend money and didn't talk to her. This was a crazy loophole, especially after my offer. Now for an update. Last night, I found he has been spending money still within the week of that second conversation. I hate to admit it, but I went looking through his bank account because I couldn't find the sites but knew the information was somewhere. I found purchases under an acronym like WTTNH, which I assumed was a fake company name, but OnlyFans uses their real name for charges. Seeing an OnlyFans purchase confirmed my suspicion. I immediately went through my timeline of the original $100 purchase to line up the name with the amount I remember being spent and was correct. I felt crazy and toxic, so I continued the night like normal. But at some point in the morning, he told me he was going to self-intimacy while I got ready. I said, "Or you could just get me in the mood." This is the second time in a few months I've had to ask if you actually enjoy our intimacy because you don't try anymore. We were lying there in silence and I said, "You're spending money on cam girls again, so that sucks." He just sighed and we sat in more silence. When I asked if he had any thoughts, he just said no. I am seeking advice on how to convey how serious this is to me and how much it truly hurts. What actions within our relationship could I take? Please, please. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. He's cooked. That situation is hardwired. Years of hard therapy might help. It probably won't. I'm so sorry. Please protect yourself, like you would protect a friend you saw in this situation. Take that advice and use it, just like you would give to someone else. Comment 2. This would be the easiest breakup of my life, I think. Once you've made the right choice to respect yourself and leave, and you're over the initial heartbreak, you'll wonder what you were doing by even considering staying with someone like that. Now for the update. A few days after the confrontation, my boyfriend and I went to my mom's birthday dinner. I had no idea how much drama was about to unfold that night. My boyfriend was acting all weird during dinner, like he was physically there, but totally checked out. He kept looking at his phone under the table, and I was like, "Really? Right now?" It's my mom's birthday. My brother was making jokes about how we're all getting older, which, let's be real, we are. But then it got real when he started talking about marriage and being in long-term relationships. My boyfriend chuckled along with everyone, but didn't say a thing about commitment. Like, hello, we've been together for 2 freaking years now. After dinner, I went to the restroom and I overheard my sister talking to my mom. She was saying my boyfriend seemed a bit off lately. I went back to the dining room and the atmosphere was all tense. My mom even asked if everything was okay between us, which made me more upset. My boyfriend suddenly excused himself, saying he had to take a call outside. I followed him out and he was texting like his life depended on it, the screen lighting up his face in the dark. I confronted him about acting weird, but he just deflected, saying he was checking on a friend. Yeah, okay. That night, I checked my bank statements and found a new charge from the camgirl site. I was so over this. I went on his social media and saw that he was still following those camgirl accounts. The next day, I confronted him with the bank statement, and he insisted it was a mistake. He promised to cancel his subscriptions, but come on. A week later, we went to a family barbecue, and he was being all flirty with my cousin. I mean, what the actual heck? I noticed him whispering and laughing with her while I was busy serving food. Later, my cousin came up to me and jokingly said how charming my boyfriend was, and I just wanted to roll my eyes so hard. That night, I found my boyfriend's phone unlocked on the kitchen counter. I went through his messages and found flirty exchanges with my cousin from a group chat. I was so angry that I took a screenshot and sent it to myself for proof. The next day, I confronted my cousin, and she just laughed it off, saying it was harmless flirting. I decided to keep quiet about it for now. I had a plan. I arranged a family gathering at my place and invited both my boyfriend and my cousin. I set up a game night to keep things casual, but I had other plans. During the game, I casually brought up our past conversations about relationships and commitment. I watched my boyfriend squirm when my cousin jokingly asked if they were getting serious. He said he was ready for that step, but I knew better. The next morning, I sent him the screenshot of his messages to my cousin. He came over looking all upset, claiming it was just a joke and he never meant anything by it. Oh, really? I decided to throw a small get-together with friends, inviting both my cousin and my boyfriend. During the gathering, I mentioned how I felt betrayed by both of them. I could see my boyfriend getting defensive and my cousin going quiet. After my friends left, I confronted my boyfriend about the camgirl subscriptions again. He admitted he had been in contact with the camgirl, but claimed it was all fantasy and nothing serious. A week later, I arranged a family dinner at my parents' house. I invited my boyfriend, but not my cousin. During dinner, I revealed everything to my family. I told them about the camgirl subscriptions and the inappropriate messages. My family was shocked, and my dad insisted on having a private talk with my boyfriend. My boyfriend stormed out, claiming he couldn't take the humiliation. I knew then it was time for me to change the locks on our shared apartment. To answer a few questions, my boyfriend and I had been dating for 2 years, and we had been living together for about 6 months. The relationship had its ups and downs, but I believed we were committed to working through issues together. Regarding the camgirl situation, he initially gave an explanation that he missed the attention due to my increased work hours, which I found unacceptable. The family dynamics were also complicated, as my cousin was known for her flirtatious behavior, but I never thought she would cross this line. I decided to involve my family to put an end to his actions. Am I the idiot for taking a break from my clingy girlfriend and finding peace without her? My girlfriend, who is 25 years old, and I, who am 24 years old, have been going through a tough time. We've been dating for close to 1.5 years now, and we have been arguing on a weekly basis since about 3 months in. We live about an hour away from each other and only see each other on the weekends. The main thing I'm struggling with is having time to make friends and to pursue my hobbies. The main thing she struggles with is not feeling enough reassurance. When I first met her, she came across as quite adventurous, fearless, and independent. As I've come to know her, she lacks adventure, she is fearful, and she is dependent. In our entire relationship, I have never gotten a weekend to myself because I asked. Every time I tried, it made her anxious and I backed out of it. I've had 2 weekends to myself in our relationship because she had work commitments going on, and the other time was for a bachelorette party. More recently, I actually did pull the trigger and needed a weekend to myself after she compared me to her ex in a normal, not heated conversation, in a negative way. This just happened to be the weekend before she would be going away, so I would have my 3rd weekend apart from her, and we wouldn't see each other for 2 weeks. She cried so much from this and was devastated. It got to the point that when I was leaving her house, she wouldn't even hug me or say goodbye. We tried to settle this conflict over FaceTime, and it just ended up with me telling her I needed a break. She kept saying, "Why don't you just break up with me?" over and over. And I really don't know why I didn't. We've now been on our break for just over a month, and I just don't know if I can go back to this relationship. I feel so much more at peace on my own. I feel more capable of making friends, reaching my career goals, and just taking care of my responsibilities. During this time, I have actually made a new friend group. I had met them right after moving across the country, so I haven't made an established friend group yet. With the issues she's dealing with, I don't really know where they come from. I'm not the most affectionate guy, but I also don't refrain from complimenting her and telling her I love her. I am often the first to do that, and she still complains and tells me I need to be more mindful of it. I just don't know what more I can do that will actually come from my heart. She gets anxious all the time and needs me to reassure her when nothing bad has happened. For example, she has had a bad dream that I found someone else. In those moments, the reassurance just feels fake from my end, and I don't like doing that. I just want to be accepted for who I am and to have the time to do the things I love, which sometimes require my weekends. All in all, I just need some advice on what to do. Is my relationship doomed? Should I just end it now? How do I avoid breaking her heart? Or how do I make this better? Now, for a few comments before the update. Well, actually, this post did not have any comments. Now, for the update, I'm back with an update on the whole Olivia situation. It's been like a week since my last post, and I figured you guys might want to know the latest tea spill. So, I decided to take a little trip to visit my parents. Didn't even bother telling Olivia. Honestly, it felt like the right move at the time. Turns out, my parents had this surprise dinner planned for my dad's birthday that weekend. Perfect timing, right? I guess I lucked out there. So on Saturday evening, I roll up to my parents' place, and it was like a scene from a cheesy family movie. Hugs, laughter, the whole 9 yards. My sister Kate was there too with her boyfriend. They brought a cake, and honestly, it was just the vibe I needed. Dinner was a blast. Tons of food, stories flying around, and of course, a few embarrassing childhood moments that my parents just love to bring up. Like, why do they always have to tell those stories? Anyway, right in the middle of dinner, I get this text from Olivia, asking what I'm up to. I just casually told her I was with my family. Didn't think it was a big deal. Boy, was I wrong. She hits me with this whole string of messages about how disappointed she was that I didn't invite her. I mean, come on. So I explained that this was all kinda last minute, and she seemed to chill out a bit. I guess that was that. After dinner, my brother Jake kinda hits me with this sentimental moment, saying how good it felt to have family around. I mean, he's not wrong, right? Later that night, I'm helping my mom clean up, and I get this call from Olivia. She starts asking why I didn't think she'd want to be part of family stuff. I tried explaining that it was a small family gathering, nothing major, but she wasn't having it. The convo escalated, and she hung up on me. Classic, right? Next day, I wake up to a call from my mom. She's like, "You won't believe this. Olivia showed up at our house looking for you. Apparently, she was really upset and left when she realized I wasn't there." I texted her like, "What happened?" but no reply. I get back home later that evening, and as I walk in, I see Olivia sitting on my porch, arms crossed. This was going to be fun. She starts confronting me about not including her in family events. I try explaining again, but she cuts me off, accuses me of hiding our relationship, saying I don't take it seriously and I never prioritize us. Like, what the heck? I mean, I admit I've been struggling with that, but throwing it back in my face? Anyway, the convo gets heated, and I raised my voice. I know, not my best moment. She storms off, saying she needs time to think about everything. I text her later, apologizing for losing my cool. Fast forward to Friday, and I get a message from her saying she wants to talk in person. We meet at this local coffee shop, and honestly, she seemed so distant. She tells me she's been talking to a therapist about her feelings. I mean, good for her, right? But then she drops the news. She's considering taking a break from our relationship to focus on herself. We part ways, and it's like, what even just happened? A couple of days later, my brother casually mentions that Olivia was seen at a party with someone else. He just slipped it in there like it was nothing, but man, that hit hard. I confronted her about it through text, and she said she went, but nothing happened. She always says that, right? I told her I needed space to process everything, and she agreed. But honestly, it felt like too little, too late. Our relationship feels kinda fractured, and I'm not sure how to fix it. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Just trying to figure out what the heck is going on and what to do next. Edit. The situation has been challenging. I understand Olivia's need for self-focus, but her attending parties with others has made me question her commitment. I've been spending time with friends, which has helped. We're currently on a break, and while it's tough, I'm trying to figure out what's best for both of us. If you like this video, you'll probably like these too. Also, while you're here, please consider subscribing. It's your support that keeps this channel alive and allows me to make better and longer videos. Have a great day.